guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see by my attire, it is horrendously cold at the moment. We're at the end of December. I think it's actually currently like -1, but it is the morning. It's a couple of days after actually getting the Cadillac back. If you guys didn't know, I have rebought the car that sort of started this channel, the motivational car, all that sort of stuff. You guys know the story. But today we're going to go into a little bit more in depth as to the condition and what's actually wrong with this thing, because as you can see, this isn't a first drive video. This isn't a video of it going up and down on the air ride. It's not a video of it starting either. So we're going to delve into exactly what's going on, the condition of the car overall, and really what the plans are as well. They're not that extensive, if I'm quite honest. They're very, very minor, if anything, but it's always nice to sort of go through and see what sort of condition this car is like in. Obviously, I have already sort of gone through this thing just to sort of know what I'm dealing with. You never know with cars, do you? You never know. So we're going to start with the engine. So underneath here we have a 7-litre, yes, I just said that right, a 7-litre 429 big block engine. Now, as you can see, and I'll pan round here to show you guys exactly what's going on. So, as you can see, the engine is still in the car, but eagle-eye viewers will realise that most of it isn't actually connected whatsoever. In fact, I think it's literally been placed back in. So the owner of this car, when he initially bought this from me, went and actually took the engine out after it running relatively low on one of the cylinders. You wouldn't have really noticed. I mean, it's basically pig iron engineering from the 60s. But he rebuilt the engine. I don't really know how extensive that rebuild was. It seems like it was relatively extensive, but the condition and how the block looks and everything in here looks the same as to when I bought it and sold it many moons ago. So at this current stage, I'm not really too sure what's going on under here. That's why the first port of call is to actually physically get this thing running. The first thing before that, though, is really assess where the engine is. Now, if it's spent most of the last, 3.5-4 years with the engine just physically sat in the car doing absolutely nothing, I want to make sure that it is in good enough condition to do a good couple of years of driving before we do really any major extensive work on any of the engine and the underneath the body, all that sort of stuff. So I want this to be a running and driving project by the summer. That's the whole idea. I want this thing running and driving in pretty much the condition it's in at the moment. But as you can see in the engine bay, nothing's really connected, nothing's really placed in. There's no belts on anything. The radiator is literally just placed in. It's not fixed in whatsoever. All of the electronics for like the automatic headlights and stuff, that's all disconnected. The battery's disconnected. I just made sure that everything was disconnected before we do delve into doing anything. But yeah, at the moment we're going to assess this with someone that actually knows what they're doing. I'm not going to try and diagnose this on my driveway in the middle of December in 0 conditions. This is going to go to someone that properly is obviously going to look through it. That's the big plan. I don't ever want to really turn a wrench on this myself, and I know that's a silly thing for me to say, but I don't ever want to hate this car. I want this car to be professionally put back together and properly done. So that's where we're going first. But yeah, overall everything looks like it's here. Most of the stuff you can't see in the engine bay now is actually sat in the boot. So I've sort of gone through the parts and I can see that most of the stuff that went with the car 4.5 years ago is still here, just most of it's in the boot. Now, bodywork is the next thing. Now, obviously this is a 55-year-old patinaed Arizona car, so it's been sun damaged its entire life until it came to the UK. So rust wise, it's not too bad. The underneath I've had a little nose about and it's still in the same sort of condition that I left it in. You see a lot of rusty or rat look cars, and obviously that really determines where it's spent most of its life. This is an Arizona car. It's in a very hot, dry state, so if you're going to buy a car, that's probably one of the best places to buy them from, because you'll just get sun damaged paint more than anything. That's exactly what this car had, apart from, as you can see down this panel here, both sides have actually been resprayed. This to me sort of like sacrilege in a weird way, and it's really hard to explain to people that literally don't get it, but if a car spends 50 years wearing this sort of paint, getting worn down and stuff, you can't replicate that. You can't just go and make that out of a tin. And it's really hard for me to explain why I hate that part of what's happened to this car. It did have a couple of dents. It had a scrape the passenger side just at the back there. You would have probably seen it from, you know, many moons ago on the channel. There was a dent in the back of it, and I was like, oh, that must have been when, you know, someone's gone around a corner too quickly and, you know, hit a curb or something, because that's what it sort of looked like. So it looked like a high curb. But yeah, the sides have actually been repainted. A lot of people, I think that, you know, like shiny cars, would go, oh, of course you paint it. But for me, the car wore this paint for like 40 odd years. To paint the sides, oh, just, yeah, when I found out, like, my heart broke a little bit. I know it sounds so stupid, but like, yeah, painting a patinaed car is yeah, it's not something I wanted to be doing. So next up is, of course, as you guys can just about see how low it is, the air ride that was put on by the previous owner to me when this car came into the UK. It's running a Firestone really big bellow air ride kit. Now, you don't need to cut anything out of these Cadillacs to get them literally on the ground. This thing hits the floor pan when it goes down, but the air ride is still on the car. I did get a lot of people asking if the air ride is still on it. In fact, it is. I wouldn't say slightly leaking, but it's really cold, so it has changed how low the car looks at the moment. But as you can see, it's on its way down. Now, I haven't actually aired this thing down, mainly because I don't want to, you know, have wet conditions underneath the car, and the car sat on itself. So to keep it aired up, keep some air in those bellows and in the actual lines and in the tank and stuff is key, in my opinion. But, you know, you can talk about that in the comment section if you would like to, if you know your air ride. But for me, I think the air ride will stay on. Of course, that was sort of the selling point in the first place for this car. I think it wears the air and how low it sits really well. The main things I'm going to change with the air ride is in here. This is the largest boot in the world ever. As you can see, many parts from the engine. You've got headers and various other things, but at the back, as you can just about see, there is a large tank with all of the air ride system solenoids and the pump just there. What I actually want to do is refresh this towards the end of this year. Although it's still holding air, it still works, it's still, you know, very serviceable. I would like to bring it into, you know, 2021. That would be quite nice. Also, as we're here, this is where you put the petrol. That is sick, isn't it? That's just so sick. So jumping inside the car, as you can see, everything is still pretty much here. In fact, I don't think anything's really changed, which is quite nice. The carpet is still the same as it was, the seats, all of the fixtures and fittings. I mean, I just love the way these dashes were made in the 60s. I just think it's such a cool era in design and just artistic flair that you don't get in a new car. Anyway, thin steering wheel as well, just like, oh, just looks so good. Anyway, everything is still here though, that's the main thing. Everything's still intact, nothing's been taken out of the car. Now, the plan in here is to just clean it up. The interior was actually retrimmed completely before the car came into the UK in around 2013, so it's had a brand new interior, you know, bar the little odds and ends here and there. Hey Slinky, come on in. Hello, come on. Got a little sausage here. Hello mate, you alright? Low and slow, see, low, long, low, long. Do you get it now? Yeah, love it mate, don't you? Yeah, so the inside is still completely intact. Everything's still here, and there's not a lot of work to really be done other than cleaning it. I think because the car has been sat for a while, it's not necessarily got any mould on it, which is quite nice. It just needs a good clean. How are you, mate? You're right. A little bit cold out here, are you? No, you just want to hug. But yeah, interior-wise, I genuinely think all this would need is a clean. Of course, nothing really works in here. The idea is to get everything working, heater working, the speedo and the clocks and everything, you know, worked from day one. The heating was a little bit hit and miss, so I would like to get that going. The wipers, again, hit and miss, so we would like to get those going again. But interior wise, there's no real work to be done. Everything's here, although you can still find parts for these cars relatively easy on, you know, USA internets, eBay and various other places. Not a lot has to be bought in here, which is a massive bonus. It's still got the Alcantara headlining, which is a huge bonus. In fact, it's still saying it's got 1/4 of a tank of petrol, which these days might actually be sort of like 40 quid. Hello beautiful, you alright? You enjoying your day? You like the Cadillac, don't you? Yeah, you love it, don't you? Just think summer, me, Slinky, riding in the Coupe de Ville with your little seatbelt on. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, mate? Yeah boy, that'd be sick. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with the current condition that I've picked this car up in. Obviously, 4.5 years is a long time for someone else to own a car, for you not to really know what's going on with it and how the condition has maybe damaged the car, what it's, you know, little bits are missing, all that sort of stuff. So I'm really, really happy. Just look at her there, really happy. Genuinely thought we were getting ourselves into something major build wise. Yes, there is still a lot to do. No, it's not going to be done next week like every other YouTube channel. This is a very personal car. It will in theory never be done. I want to get it running and driving for this summer so I can actually drive it and just enjoy it with all the other cars and, you know, various other things that we've got going on. But the reality is this is going to be a forever project. It's a forever car. Yeah, you can give it the big one in comment sections and dislike videos and stuff for people buying and selling cars, which is fine. But if it wasn't for that, wasn't me buying and selling cars, wasn't me giving up on certain cars, we wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be the happiest I've ever been in my entire life. So yeah, you can say what you want about people buying and selling cars. I see it all the time on YouTube, and yeah, this isn't one of those scenarios, and I think there's a lot of people out there that appreciate that. They appreciate why this car exists again in my life, what it meant to get rid of it, what it meant to bring it back and all that sort of stuff, and what it means to build it. Now we have a bigger following, we have more people that are interested in this car. We can, you know, really get our teeth stuck in with it, just like the 106 and, you know, the Series 1 in a couple of months. The 106 has, you know, I think it's April, I think the idea was for completing that car. This, never, because it's never going anywhere. In fact, it could sit on my driveway for the rest of its life now. I'm not really too fussed. I just want to drive it in the summer more than anything. Anyway guys, I hope you like this video. I hope the Cadillac coming back sort of means more to some people than it does to others. Other people just be like, oh right, he bought another car, lovely. Like YouTubers buy, you know, Lambos all day long. But I'd like to thank you all for watching. I'll see you all on the next one. Hopefully it's a little bit warmer.